Welcome back to Design Bundles YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal and today we are going to be working with deco film. It's really cool. It almost gives it this mirrored effect. So we're going to be creating this really cool t-shirt for Dad for Father's Day, because when you pair deco film like this, the silver with black, it is gorgeous. Now the other cool thing about deco film is you can't hardly feel it. So it feels one with the t-shirt. It's so amazing. So we're going to be using the Cricut today. You're just going to use normal iron-on settings for it. We are using the Cricut Easy Press 3, the 10x12 today. I'm not using my phone, the little heat guide. I'm just using the screen here and buttons. I have it on 320 for 15 seconds. They recommend around, I think, 307 to 320 for 7 to 8 seconds. That's with a bigger heat press. So I did 320 for 15 seconds. All right, so I've got that going. It's heated up, ready to go. So let's go and head on over to Cricut Design Space so we can get this ready to cut. All right, so for the very first thing that we're gonna do is you're gonna notice this design does come in multiple pieces. The reason why is if you really wanted to go in here and change the colors, so if I wanted to do all of this in blue, this piece in red, I could really narrow this down all the way to the dots. So they have done that for you. So if you really wanted to create this really cool, especially with the deco film, you really wanted to do this holographic, you could get multiple colors of this and create something like that as well. So you could do that with any of the colors. But either way, it's giving you options. We're not gonna use that today. So what we're gonna do while it's all selected is we're just simply gonna hit weld. So if I hit weld on this, it's going to make it to one file, which you guys will see in just a second. So you can see here, it is now one single file. If I would have just hit attach, it would have kept all those pieces. But when we went to make it, it would have kept it all together instead of trying to separate it. But I like to just hit weld when I can because it creates one file. But if you ever see anything starting to weld and look funky, undo and then just hit attach, because ultimately it's doing the same thing. All right, so that's step one. Next thing we need to do is figure out how big we want this to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop the camera down so we can measure all of this out. All right, so I'm using a medium today. These are Bella Canvas, and I'm just gonna go ahead and figure out where I want this design to be. Number one, you can use, we have an acrylic template. I actually made this with my Glowforge. It's really cool because you put it right up here at the neckline. It has the center mark, which I have upside down. And then that's going to allow us to figure out that center. So I can look at this and go to the four. I know 8 inches would look good. I can go a little bit bigger and say, okay, I think 9 inches on here would look really good. So that's one way to do it. Then I can go from that center mark, come down, and I can say I don't want it to be no longer than 10 inches. So I really love these guides right here. You could make them with your Glowforge or any sort of laser, or we do have ones as well that you could make with your Cricut. So you can still cut this out with your Cricut if you wanted to. We've done a tutorial showing you guys how to use like a cardstock to make these as well. So definitely feel free to use your Cricut to do something like this as well, but they do come in handy. So you can do that, or if you simply just using your tape measure, it'd be the same thing. So you can use your little, I really like to use these sewing rulers. They're just super flexible. I can use them on my tumblers, cups, all sorts of things. So I highly recommend snagging one of these, but I would hold it up here and figure out about what looks good, 9 inches by that 10. So I know I want around 9 by 10. All right, so jumping back over here on Cricut Design Space, we're simply gonna go ahead and select it right here. We're gonna go to the width, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit 9 and enter, and that's gonna give me 9 by 12. Now, I'm gonna go back and peek at my t-shirt really quickly, and I can say, okay, is that gonna be too big for me? I'm gonna double check one more time. So 9 by 12, I think that's gonna be okay. I really kind of want this to be a big design. If I decided it was ultimately too long, I could go back and make some adjustments, do 8.75, 8.25, 8.5 until I was happy with it, but I think I'm gonna be okay. All right, so what this means is essentially now that it's 12.5, I'm gonna have to use my 12 by 20 format. So you wanna make sure, number one, you have enough materials, and then you wanna make sure that obviously you have a bigger mat if you're gonna go over that 12-inch mark. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready to make it. We're gonna send it on over by clicking Make It, and then we are gonna go ahead and tell it that we are cutting on the mat. So I'm gonna tell it on the mat, and then we're gonna hit continue. Make sure our machine is turned on and ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and hit mirror to turn that on. So since we're using HTV, you definitely wanna turn that mirror on, and then we're gonna go ahead and hit continue. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna choose everyday iron on, and now we're ready to go. All right, so I've got my 12 by 24 mat, and what I like to do, since I'm working on this side pretty much of the mat, flip it with the top part towards me. That's where I'm gonna load it anyways. And now I'm gonna go ahead and load my material. So I'm gonna start right up here at the top. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and roll it down. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and smooth that out, just like so. So if you guys are just now working with HTV, you wanna make sure your shiny side is down, and then we're gonna get ready to load it. All right, so what we're gonna do is load it right under our white feet. We're gonna hit that load button. It's gonna load in here to make sure that there is the correct mat and all of that. So it's gonna go ahead and slide it through really fast. Once we're done with that, it's gonna pop back through here. And then we're gonna be able to push the go button. We'll start to see that flash. All right, so now we're getting that flash. We're gonna go ahead and hit go. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed up through this just a little bit, and we'll be right back. All right, so we're done cutting officially. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and hit that unload button, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and remove this off the mat. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and remove any excess because I can save it for later. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this guy up really quick so we can kind of scoot it out of our way a little bit. So now I'm gonna go ahead and drop the camera down so we can weed it. All right, so whenever it comes to this deco film stuff, it is super lightweight. It is so easy to weed. It weeds like a dream, and so it's gonna weed out pretty fast. So like I said, you really should not struggle with this in any sort of way. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up really fast. All right, there we have it. So we've got it all weeded out. As you can see, how cool is that? It'll look even better once you press it. So if you're sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, that's super mirror, no. Once we press it, it kind of mats down a little bit. You guys will see that here in a minute, but it is amazing. But what I really, really love about it too, like I said, is the fact that it's gonna feel one with the t-shirt. So cool, it's gonna feel like nothing's on your shirt. All right, so what I like to still do here is use a lint roller to remove any sort of lint or debris. Next up, I'm gonna take that t-shirt guide. Another thing you can do is follow along with your neck tag. Your neck tag is almost always centered, not always, most always. So wherever your neck tag is, that should be your center. And then I'm gonna be using this acrylic here. You wanna come down around 3 fingers. So what I like to do is, to find the center of our design, we're gonna fold it in half, pinch it, get a little mark up there at the top, and I'm actually gonna come up just a little bit, so somewhere right about in here. So I'm gonna bring it up a little bit higher, getting that center mark, so something right about there. Make sure you have already pulled the moisture out of your t-shirt. I've already done so, but never skip that step. Make sure you have pulled out any sort of moisture if need be. All right, so that looks great. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press this in 2 motions. So I'm gonna go ahead and press that top half here. Once again, we're doing 320 for 20 seconds. Now this is a cold peel, so we wanna let this completely cool down before we start to peel. All right, so we've got about 5 more seconds. If I was using a bigger heat press, like a 15 by 15, you'd only need to press this once. So I'm gonna go ahead and carefully scoot it up a little bit more. We're gonna press one more time, and this is going to make the best t-shirt for Father's Day. You could throw this on an apron if you wanted to. You could throw this on a tumbler, a coffee cup, all sorts of things that you guys could do with this design. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get that out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. Now, once again, this is a cold peel. Now with Cricut's recommendation, what they actually do recommend you do when using the Cricut Easy Press is flip it over, and then you would press it again. I turn that back on for a sec, and you would actually want to press this for another 15 seconds. So you notice I have not pulled off that top carrier sheet just yet. I'll go ahead and get the top, and then I'll get the bottom. Now, as you can see, I did not do the full on that, so I'll actually just go ahead and stop this, and then we'll start it again. So we'll do half and half. So you want to do 15 seconds wherever. If I was just doing one solid design that actually fit underneath this, you only need a total of 15 seconds, but because this is a longer design, we had to press it twice. You want 15 and 15. All right, so I think we're good enough there. Now I'm gonna shut it off. We're gonna flip it back over. We're gonna let it completely cool down. If you had something like a granite countertop, you could definitely flip it over on there, or if you have one of those heat stones, you can do that as well. Another thing that I personally like to do is just fan it. So if you just take your t-shirt and fan this, it's gonna cool down super, super fast. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this finish cooling down, and then we're gonna peel it and get the big reveal. All right, so now that this has completely cooled, we are ready to peel. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is completely peel this off, just like so. Perfect. Now that we've pulled off our carrier sheet, I almost forgot there was one more important step that is recommended from the manufacturers of this deco film. What they recommend, once you have let it cool down, once you have peeled it, go back on top with a piece of parchment paper, and you're just gonna press it for 2 seconds. So since I have a top and a bottom, I'm gonna go ahead and press the top, and then I'm gonna press the bottom. What this is gonna do is really help sink this down in there even further, and it's just gonna smooth everything out. So since we peeled this off and you're pulling and tugging on it, this is just going to seal everything in, and you're gonna notice a difference. To where I had a shine, this is going to really let those fibers go down into it. It is super, super cool. All right, so let me go ahead so you guys can see that. I'm gonna move it around just a little bit, so hopefully you guys can get that effect. So it's not gonna show my face in there, so it's not like a mirrored effect per se, but it's this really cool silvered out. It is amazing. They have several different colors to choose from, but what's really neat about this is it feels one with the fabric. It feels so good. When I rub my hand across it, it feels like the t-shirt. It doesn't feel like I'm rubbing anything, so I really love that. But once again, as you guys can see, how stinking cool that is. And there you guys have it. That's how easy it is to use deco film with your Cricut Easy Press. You're gonna use those iron-on settings, super easy. I use the Cricut Easy Press 3. You could definitely use your more industrial style heat press. You can even do this with an iron if you wanted to, but definitely make sure you do not skip that step of adding on that parchment paper for about 2 seconds to really seal that in and lock it. But how cool is this color shift? It is amazing. So like I said, it's not really a mirror where you're gonna see stuff in it. It just looks amazing. So this would make a perfect gift, like I said, for Father's Day. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.